Is it working?
I think it's working.
Is it working?
I think it's working.
Is it working?
I think it's working.
Is it working? 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 Okay. Alright, so there seems to be about a 3-second delay. I'm gonna wait until someone gets here before I start playing. I don't know how to check how many viewers I currently have. If anyone's here, just type something in the chat. This is my very first time streaming. I am absolutely a fish out of water right now. And I think I'm just gonna start playing the game. I keep mentioning that when someone gets here to say something in the chat, because I don't know how to check how many people are watching right now, or even if anyone's watching. So if you're here, just say something in the chat. Doesn't matter what. I mean, obviously within reason. That's just something that I'd be like. Yeah, if you're here, just say something in the chat, because I'm not sure how to check how many people are currently watching. So yeah, if anyone's here, just say something in the chat. This is my very first time streaming anything ever. This is a continuation of my self-imposed challenge run that I was talking about earlier on the Discord. So I'm not allowed to use a lot of things while I'm inside of dungeons. There are some things I'm allowed to use, not that. I'm allowed to have a mark of healing. A mark of healing, 2 crystals of healing. Two crystals of healing and a crystal of healing, for example. But it's still pretty insane. And I am lucky I lived there. I'm probably going to be dying even more often than I usually do, just because I'm still like, just sort of out of the mindset that I need to be in, simply because this is my first time ever streaming. I'm gonna check the Discord real quick and see if anyone's saying anything there. I'm sure that eventually, I have no illusions of eventually doing this as a job. I extremely doubt that I would ever get to that point. But I would like to do this as like on a semi-regular basis, as just like a hobby, because it does seem really cool. So I'm sure that eventually I will get used to streaming, and eventually my commentary will not just be complaining about how not used to streaming I am. I'm sure that commentary that's just me complaining about how I'm not used to streaming is very entertaining to watch. Well, I guess not watch, but listen to. I'm sure that eventually I will get used to this. Kind of the only way to get good at it is to just keep doing it. And to obviously accept feedback too. That's very important. But you can't get the feedback if you're not doing it in the first place. Zombie here somewhere, right? No, not you. Here we go, finally. Now, this zombie is a saint. The reason why this zombie is a saint is because in Arena, only one type of enemy can spawn at a time, and the zombie is more or less the weakest enemy type that can spawn on this floor. So now that I'm here, I'm just going to kite them over to the entrance to the second floor of this dungeon. That way I don't get any other monsters trying to kill me at the moment. Now, I'll still have to fight the monsters once I get back to this floor. For the time being, I'm fine. And that's good because if I only have to spend my resources on surviving this floor once, then I get more resources to survive this floor. But I have no idea how I'm going to do the second floor though, because there's no easy cheap out strategy. And even this, you can only do like your first time on the floor. It doesn't work when you get back to it. Interesting. Next floor is like right here, right? Yep. So let's see if we can put this down. Still have no idea how to check how many people are watching. I'm just going to just go to my Twitch channel and mute. tab and not just the site. Alright. So if I just bring up the screen on a different window, I can see how many people are currently watching. That's all I'm going to be able to do. Check the UESP wiki real quick. Map for this for. Because I just want to know how to get it done. Taking the shortest path. Shortest path seems like it's also going to be a bit higher somehow. I wasn't trying to camp, I was trying to use my crystal shielding. That's why my channel is for mature. Define mature, but yeah. Okay. I came out of the earth. I am sold in the market. He who buys me cuts off my tail, takes off my suit of silk, and weeps beside me when I am dead. Flower? Holy shit. Not sure what the answer to that is. Fuck. Holy shit. Come on. Okie dokie. Really good. Hey. Is the sound good? This is my very first time streaming. Is the sound good? Just let me know in the chat. Like, is my mic really low or anything, or is anything too loud? Because I don't really have, because with my really like jerry-rigged backwater setup, I don't really have a way of telling, oh that's bad, I didn't want to kill those zombies. Yeah, my mic setup is kind of crazy, because I don't actually really have a mic, but what I do have is like one of my old controllers from back when I used to play on an Xbox 360. So I have that controller hooked up to my computer, and like the Xbox 360 like speech thing hooked up to the controller. It's kind of a crazy setup, but I managed to get it to work at least. I hope that I can get some more zombies, because I didn't mean to kill both of those zombies. It was a mistake. The reason why I want the zombies is because Arena can only spawn one type of enemy at a time, and the zombies are pretty much the only type of enemy on this floor of the dungeon that isn't going to result in me getting a game over. dungeon floor is pretty ridiculous. Guess I'll just forge on ahead and... Oop. Oh no, not already. Won't result in me basically just dying, because the way that spell casting works in Arena is the monsters that can cast spells don't have any cooldown between the spells that they cast, so they can just cast like 10 of them in a second. So it just results in a very quick death. What's even worse is most of the enemies on this floor, most of them, don't actually leave bodies when they die. And the reason why the enemies are programmed like that is for the same reason why I wanted the zombies to be there, is because Arena can only handle one type of enemy at a time. So if they don't leave any bodies behind, then the moment you kill all of them, and now I'm going to move my mic a little lower so it doesn't pick up the breathing again. This game is pretty crazy later on. And stuff goes challenges on top of it. Yeah, it's fun though. And after I beat this self-imposed challenge, I'm definitely looking forward to Daggerfall. I think I'm going to do some Wake later today, though I definitely like to do this thing. Turn the mic up? I'm gonna go into OBS. I think it's the... It might actually be the noise gate that I have. So I'm going to... actually no, it's probably the compressor to be completely honest. Probably a combination. Let me know if this makes me... so I'm going to change... I'm going to change the mic volume. Let me know if this makes it louder or quieter. I'm just going to sort of keep talking. Am I getting louder or quieter when I do that? Okay, is that good, or is it too loud, not loud enough? Alright, and I'm going to turn the game volume down a little bit. Is that good, or should I turn the game volume down even more? Okay. Alright, so I've lowered the game volume a bit. I'm going to keep playing for a bit now. Let me know if it's if everything sounds good. Actually, I'm going to mess with the noise gate a bit real quick as well. I think the noise gate might be a bit too high, because I want the noise gate there just because there's like a low hum that's just always happening in the room that I'm in. And if the noise gate is too low, then it'll pick up that hum. But if it's too high, then if I start to speak a little quieter, it's not going to pick it up. I'm going to turn the noise gate. I think this is down just a little bit. So hopefully this works. Not changing the noise gate much though. Yeah, I think if it gets too bad, I can always just make a conscious effort to talk more loudly. I mean, this is my first time streaming still, so I'd rather have it be a bit too quiet, and have people tell me it's too quiet, rather than have it be too loud and people just leave the stream because they don't want their ears to get damaged. I'm sure I'll get the hang of this eventually. I have no illusions of doing this as a job. I would be absolutely shocked if I was ever able to do this as a job, but it would be really cool to be able to do this as a hobby. So I'm sure that in time I'll get better at streaming. I just really like Arena's combat, just because the pace of it combined with the fact that you have to physically move your mouse in order to swing your weapon. So it just makes it really, really frantic. Sort of like motion controls before motion controls were a thing, except done well. So now I'm playing the game for a bit, and you can hear the game volume compared to my volume. Is the game still overpowering? Because I can always just turn down the game volume more if that's the problem. That's probably the easiest thing for me to do with this. Alright, I'm going to turn the game volume down a bit more. Alright, Alright, is this better? I'm gonna play the game for a bit more, and see if it's any better. Alright. So yeah, just I'm just gonna keep talking for a bit, and you let me know if this is any better or not. It seems like the game volume is changing. It's not. Well, there's a slider that I thought was me changing the game volume. I'm going to set it really low and see if this has any sort of effect. Is the game a lot quieter now? Okay, so that's I know how to fix this though. I thought you could just change it in OBS, but I'm just gonna have to use the volume mixer. Alright, is that better? Sorry about that. Still the same? Okay, because yeah, I'm going into like the actual volume mixer itself. Is the sword swinging quieter? Alright. Thanks for the help, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, I want the game to, like, I want it to be so that, like, you can hear the game, but I don't want it to be overpowering. Like, I don't think anyone should have to, strain to, hear me. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Like the problem with this setup is I have no way of actually hearing it myself. And aside from my speakers, I can hear it a little bit, but obviously I don't want to make that too loud because my mic's going to pick up the speakers. This is where the game starts to get really difficult during the last few dungeons of the game, because they'll have like large areas that are either pits or water, and then they'll have like these separate islands, and there will be spell casting monsters on those islands, and you'll have like no way of attacking them, but they'll be able to just easily kill you with a few hits. So even if you're not doing any sort of self-imposed challenge, it becomes really hard to survive. I think that's the zombies here. Okay, so I really want to make sure that I'm shielded and fully healed for this one, because I gotta do this real quick. Alright, so Arena is quite a bit different from the later entries into the series. Invisibility spells don't help with committing crimes at all. However, those open locked door spells do really help out with lockpicking, which is part of the reason why, at least I believe, the rogue class is the weakest class in the game, because it gets a bonus to lockpicking and nothing else. And if you have a spellcaster, you just make a really strong open locked door spell. And that spell will even work on magically locked doors. So yeah, it's a bit harder to do that like breaking and entering stuff as a mage class without using spells. But if you know what spells will and won't help, it's actually significantly easier. So I wouldn't worry too much about missing out on it. I'm actually going to check out the answer to this on the UESP wiki, because if I get this wrong, I'm just dead because there are a bunch of monsters getting ready to attack me. The rogue class is kind of the hardest class to beat Arena with, because the only advantage you get from playing as the rogue class is you get a significant bonus to lockpicking, but if you're able to use magic, that's not much of a problem anyways, except for very early on in the game. But you wouldn't be using lockpicking a whole lot early on in the game anyways. And rogue classes have quite a few banned items, so they can't use stronger weapons and armor. They are completely unable to use magic, so they can only use magical items. They have the lowest health bonus per level up out of any class. They're not the only class like that, they're tied for last place with a couple others. But yeah, they have the worst when it comes to how much health you get per level up. And they're just generally really underpowered. Alright, I just looked up the answer to this riddle. You want to try solving it real quick for yourself, or do you want me to just get on with it? Yeah, see, that's something that I would think too. The problem with this one is there are a bunch of answers that could be considered the correct answer. However, I'll let it slide because the actual answer is onion, and that one makes the most sense, especially for that part about weaving. But I still don't like this one too much just because there are multiple correct answers. These wraiths are some of the hardest enemies in the game. They're not too bad though, just because they can fly and they tend to move toward you when they're not casting spells. And once an enemy is within melee range, they will always use melee instead of spells. Disadvantage to heal spells? What's that? Is that like one of the class like perks and class disadvantages? If it's a class disadvantage, I would assume that for the known spellbook, the disadvantage isn't there. However, as you level up more and more, custom-made spells get so powerful that eventually the powerfulness from your character level will overshadow any disadvantage that your class gives you. Not necessarily the money, no, when you're creating a custom spell, there are a lot of modifiers, like it's very customizable, and one of the things that you can base spell power and spell cost and stuff like that off of is using your actual character level as one of the multipliers, and when you do that, essentially the higher of a level your character is, the stronger the spell gets, at no additional cost. It's like so the only cost, the only additional cost for the spell in terms of mana points will be whatever number you're multiplying your character level by. So say if you made a lock-picking spell that you wanted to have a 100% chance of succeeding, and you were level 20, the only part of that spell that would go into effect for the mana points cost, or I guess spell points cost, is what the spell is doing in the first place, which is lockpicking, and then that number 5 that you're multiplying your character level by. So as you level up, custom-made spells can get stronger and cheaper. Base damage is useful when you're a very low level, but even once you reach like level 7, you want to have higher level damage. So since you're already almost level 6, I would just recommend doing higher level damage. Also, I love that sound effect, by the way, whenever you complete the main quest objective. Like, it's so good that I genuinely believe that the day when they find a cure for cancer, that sound will play. So, all of that I just did to get to that item, that was the easy part. The hard part now is going to be getting back out of this dungeon because it is going to be getting back out of this dungeon because it's going to be a longer time before I'm able to kite zombies. Yeah, I mean, you can find some really good stuff within the first dungeon. Like, most people have a lot of difficulty with the first dungeon, just because this arena is a very hard game to get used to. But once you know what you're doing, the first dungeon is actually very easy, and it's very rewarding to fully explore it, because you can get a lot of really good stuff. Another tip that I would give for a good AR is, even though thanks to my self-imposed challenges I can only use certain magical items, I'm still allowed to wear anything I want, and the Ring of Khajiit gives a -6 to AR for everything. So if you find one of the 2 artifact rings, both of those are very good for your armor rating. I mean, I usually play through most of the main quest without looking up the maps, but once I get to about this point, I almost always end up looking up the maps because this is where it gets boring to just keep just exploring the same dungeon for hours upon hours because two maze like also game crash. this is one of the many things Arena likes to do is crash once you've been playing it for a while. It doesn't crash too terribly often though. Especially if in the DOSBox configuration, give it enough memory. Because that's the big thing that causes it to crash, is all the memory leakage issues. I'm glad that you're enjoying Arena. It's definitely one of those games where you really have to get used to it. If you stick with it, you can have a lot of fun. I know that when I first played Arena, I certainly didn't expect to be playing it for any extended period of time. Like, I was just going in there for curiosity. I had no expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I even fully played through Arena with the very... Yeah, I'm definitely going to play through the entirety of the Elder Scrolls eventually. Because I know that my first experience with the series was Skyrim. Skyrim first came out in, like, what, 2000... When did Skyrim first come out, actually? Let me look at that real quick. It came out in 2011. And so I would have been... Let's see, what would have been there? 13 when it first came out. I think 12 actually, yeah. I'm gonna put it on vibrate. Yeah, that was my very first exposure to the series, and I did enjoy Skyrim, but now that I'm like exploring the other games in the series, I gotta say there are a lot of mechanics that it abandoned that it probably shouldn't have. And also like kind of the I mean I knew this like already when I first played the game, but its main quest was really half-assed. Uh-oh. That was kind of loud. Yeah, I think when the 1.9 update for Skyrim came out, the 1.9 patch rather, I mean it was sort of an update. That's when I really started to get into it again, just because I really liked Legendary difficulty. Just because like everyone has different things that will make it easier or harder for them to roleplay while playing a game. And for me, something that makes it really easy for me to get into roleplaying is when I am not necessarily powerless. Like, I want to be able to make like a huge difference within the in-game world, but I want to be very, very weak. Like, it should be a real challenge just to survive, let alone to make a huge difference. And Legendary difficulty does exactly that, because when like every single enemy in the game can one-shot you until you're like level 30, and then you can survive a single hit from most enemies, you're kind of weak. Uh-oh. Alright, we got the zombies to spawn. Sometimes the zombie will spawn there, and sometimes it's a stone golem instead. If it's a stone golem, I have to take care of him first, because otherwise he'll wreck me and I won't really have any way to survive it. Did not mean to fall into that water there. The zombies, I just have them because they're a fairly easy enemy since they don't have any ranged attacks at all. And because Arena can only spawn one type of enemy at a time, if I have to have something trying to kill me, I'd rather have it be a zombie. Because then that happens if it's not a zombie. I'm not really trying to grind levels, it's just, those other enemies can kill me real fast. And I just want to finish this quest. After I finish this quest, I'll probably grind to the next level, just because I'm really close to a level up. And because of my self-imposed challenges, I'm not allowed to save inside of main quest dungeons. And the kind of your bonuses, the amount of health you get, as well as the amount of stat points you get, is random. And you have a 1 in 32 chance of a perfect level up, so if you save right before you level up, you can just keep reloading it until that 1 in 32 chance where you do get a perfect level up. Yeah, just trying to finish the quest. These dungeons are getting to the point where when I combine it with this self-imposed challenge, I just have to have a get in and get out mentality, because even with that, I'm already dying a whole lot. Yeah, I was sort of wondering whether or not I wanted to do commentary, but I decided to do commentary for two reasons. First of all, because it makes it a lot easier to ask people if the volume's alright. And again, thanks for that. But secondly, it's just because, as you can tell, I'm more or less just doing the same thing over and over again, and when there's not a whole lot of commentary, well, when there's no commentary, rather, then that gets even more boring than if there were bad commentary. Didn't just back myself into a corner, did I? I wasn't exactly going to, I wasn't really planning on streaming this game at all until the Older Scrolls Discord server came out. Because that people are willing to discuss like all the different games there, and it's really nice to have a place where you talk about Arena. Because even though most people haven't played it, when they're on a Discord dedicated to the older games, they're still going to be interested in it. Also, best bows in the series, right here. They're just machine guns. Not bragging or anything. Try to stop breathing into the mic with my nose. Well, the thing is, ironically, like that sword isn't even very useful to me anymore, just because my strength is already at 100. I believe in Daggerfall, you can boost your stats past 100 under certain circumstances, but you can't do that at all in Arena. Yeah, the magic ID costs are really high. And since you can more or less figure out what the item is just by using it, it's kind of silly because having it ID'd is just more of a convenience thing. Damn it. So I think I just gotta hope that the wraiths spawn first there. Gonna check Discord real quick. Because I just got a notification. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, I believe I do have my magic items ID, but that's just because I have way more gold than I know what to do with. Because once you start to get magic items that you don't want, they sell for a lot of money. Also, if you find an NPC that you can pickpocket, um, like one that's easy to pickpocket, because every NPC has a random chance of how easy or hard it is to pickpocket them. If your agility is high enough, at least some NPCs that are easy to pickpocket, you'll have a 100% chance. The lock spells, those are used essentially for locking doors behind you so that monsters can't go through them. And they can be useful, but they're very, very situational. And there are more useful spells that are less situational. So I'd say for now, keep it unless you're planning on buying something else that would be more useful. But eventually you'll want something different to use. Oh, the funny thing about locked doors is ones that are magically locked, I believe. Well, there are certain doors that are locked that monsters can get through. Not magically locked ones, though, but ones that, like, for example, require a key. Monsters can get through them. And if you enter a door that a monster opens, not knowing that it requires a key, then it can be a bit tricky to get out. Not impossible though. Like usually it's possible to like either break down the door in some way or lockpick it. It can be pretty tricky to get out in that situation. But it's very, very rare that that happens. Like, it only ever happens to me once. Yeah, the lock spells can be useful, but I wouldn't use them. They aren't quite that useful. There are some really useless spells though, like I believe like resist fire, resist cold, and resist shock. Are all pretty useless because they make you take less damage from specific spell types, but there's spell absorption, which not only makes you completely immune to the spells, but also makes you absorb the spell points from those spells that were cast at you. So it essentially refills your magic. I have leprosy. That's not that bad though. The biggest problem in Arena is if you have a disease and you don't have any potions of cure disease on you, because they're pretty tricky to come by other than from buying them from mages guilds. And because days pass by when you fast travel, and the disease slowly progresses until it eventually kills you in Arena, If you're in a dungeon that's particularly far away from civilization, you might actually not even be able to fast travel out of that dungeon without dying. And when that happens, the only way to get out of that situation, besides reloading a previous save, is to sleep in a dangerous spot, hope that either minotaurs or orcs spawn, and occasionally, not on rare occasions, but it's not common either, one of the items they will drop will be a random potion. And this random potion could be anything, and you have to drink that potion and just hope that that anything that it could be is a potion of cure disease. I believe I actually do have I have a few potions of cure disease on me, but for the purposes of my self-imposed challenges, since this is my second playthrough of Arena, I'm only allowed to use the potion upon exiting a dungeon. I nearly died there. There we go. How many charges does my mark have left? 3. I am sure. Not what I was planning for. Didn't know that stone golems could spawn there. I think this is going to be the hardest part though, because there is a zombie spawn point not too far away once I get back to this first floor. And I can just kite the zombie all the way back to the entrance to the dungeon. The arena is very unforgiving with its monster placement. Randomly generated dungeons work differently with spawning monsters than the main quest dungeons. Randomly generated dungeons will spawn monsters at complete random, and what monsters it spawns depends on your character level. So the higher your level, the stronger the monsters will be. And it's the same thing when you're, actually, I won't spoil it. But with what you said so far in the chat, I'm sure that you'll find it just through the course of playing Arena. But yeah, in randomly generated dungeons, it spawns monsters at complete random. So the faster you do the dungeon, the fewer monsters you'll end up having to fight. But in main quest dungeons, the way that it spawns monsters is there are basically there are groups of monsters that are programmed into the dungeon. And once you get close enough to that particular group, the game will try to spawn that group of monsters. Now there are a few different checks that the game has to go through first. First, it checks to see if there are any other monsters currently alive of a different type. Because if there are, then it can't spawn those monsters since the game can only handle one monster type at a time. But after that, it'll then check to see if any of the monsters it wants to spawn have been killed. If so, then it won't spawn those monsters that have been killed. And if all of the monsters have been killed, then it won't spawn any monsters at all. However, when you leave a dungeon floor, the game completely forgets which monsters you have and haven't killed. So that's why exiting this dungeon is going to be really difficult, because I'll have to deal with all the monsters on the top floor again. And in both main quest and randomly generated dungeons, it can always spawn monsters at random whenever you try to rest in a dangerous spot. I don't want to camp. So, I think I found a strategy for this part. It's not always going to work, but it's like the most likely to work thing that I can figure out here, that I can come up with. So, there are... thanks for watching. And I hope you have a good 4th of July. Alright, I'm going to check Discord real quick after I heal up, because I've been getting some notifications. Actually, I'm going to check my phone first to make sure it isn't an email. This is just some discussion on the off-topic section in Discord. This I can work on. How many charges does my crystal of shielding have left? Not shielded, I'm not currently living a sheltered life. No! Fuck!